Jaya Gopi Jana Baba Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Baba Girivaradhari Jasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jasodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Vrindavan Dham. Jaya Lalita Besakha, Jaya Radha-shyam, Lalita Besakha, Jaya Radha-shyam. Nittai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Srila Gurudev. नित्रैल प्रविष्ट जयं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद एसी भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की। नित्रैल प्रविष्ट जयं विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत गोस्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद महाराज की। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्तवृंद की। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की। जय श्री श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की। जय श्री श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की। जय श्री श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की। जय श्री श्री द्वारका धाम की। जय श्री श्री अयोध्या धाम की। जय श्री श्री बद्रिका धाम की। जय श्री श्री कृष्ण भक्ति पदायिनी श्री श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंदा देवी की जय। जय श्री श्री गंगा मैया जमुना मैया की जय। जुग धर्म श्री श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्री श्री हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसडेंटल डिस्ट्रिक्शन की जय। उपस्थित समस्त भक्त वृंद की जय। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees, हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees, हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees, हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरुवान गौरांग श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यां नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया। भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Hare Krishna. So first of all, I'm seeking the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who are present here. Actually, I'm not very experienced, neither I'm qualified enough to give any discourse on such an enlightened topic like devotional service. So I'll try my best, whatever I heard from Srila Prabhupada and his sincere followers, and whatever reading I have done, limited experience I have, I'll try to speak. If any offense or any mistake, please correct me and please consider it. And please bless me so that I can speak appropriately, which will be understandable by all of you, and I'll be also blessed by your causeless blessings. Hare Krishna. So today, English. I have been asked to talk on Srimad Bhagavad-Gita, chapter number 12, and the sloka sankhya, the verse is 6 and 7. So I'll just read out the sloka. So we are going to first 6 and 7 are together. Jetu sarvāṇi karmāṇi mayi sannyasya mat-parāḥ ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyāyanena upāsate teṣām aham samuddhartā mṛtyu-saṁsāra-sāgarāt bhavāmi na cirāt pārtha āveśita-cetasām. So one Prabhuji can, one Prabhuji. Hetu sarvāṇi karmāṇi mayi sannyasya mat-parāḥ ananyenaiva yogena dhyāyanta upāsate teṣām aham samuddhartā mṛtyu-saṁsāra-sāgarāt bhavāmi na cirāt pārtha mayi āveśita-cetasām. One Mataji? Anybody? Jai sarvāṇi karmāṇi mayi sannyasya mat-parāḥ ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyāyanta upāsate teṣām aham samuddhartā mṛtyu-saṁsāra-sāgarāt bhavāmi na cirāt pārtha maya āveśita-cetasām. Word to word meaning: ye, those who, tu, but, sarvāṇi, all, karmāṇi, activities, mayi, unto me, sannyasya, giving up, mat-parāḥ, being attached to me, ananyena, without division, eva, certainly, yogena, by practice of such bhakti-yoga, mam, upon me, dhyāyantaḥ, meditating, upāsate, worship, teṣām, of them, aham, I, samuddhartā, the deliverer, mṛtyu, of death, samsāra, in material existence, sagarāt, from the ocean, bhavāmi, I become, na, not, cirāt, after a long time, pārtha, O son of Pṛthā, mayi, upon me, āveśita, fixed, cetasām, of those whose minds. Now the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. But those who worship me, giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, having fixed their minds upon me, O son of Pṛthā, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Purport. It is explicitly stated here that the devotees are very fortunate to be delivered very soon from material existence by the Lord. In pure devotional service, one comes to the realization that God is great and that the individual soul is subordinate to Him. His duty is to render service to the Lord, and if he does not, then he will render service to Maya. As stated before, the Supreme Lord can be appreciated only by devotional service. Therefore, one should be fully devoted. One should fix his mind fully in Krishna in order to achieve Him. One should work only for Krishna. It does not matter in what kind of work one engages, but that work should be done only for Krishna. That is the standard of devotional service. The devotee does not desire any achievement other than pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His life's mission is to please Krishna, and he can sacrifice everything for Krishna's satisfaction, just as Arjuna did in the battle of Kurukshetra. The process is very simple. One can devote himself in his occupation and engage at the same time in chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Such transcendental chanting attracts the devotee to the personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord herein promises that without delay He will deliver a pure devotee thus engaged from the ocean of material existence. Those who are advanced in yoga practice can willfully transfer the soul to whatever planet they like by the yoga process, and others take the opportunity in various ways. But as far as the devotee is concerned, it is clearly stated here that the Lord Himself takes him. The devotee does not need to wait to become very experienced in order to transfer himself to the spiritual sky. In the Varaha Purana, this verse appears. Nayami paramam sthanam archiradi gatim vina garuda skandham aropya jathecham anivaritaha. The purport of this verse is that a devotee does not need to practice Ashtanga Yoga in order to transfer his soul to the spiritual planets. The responsibility is taken by the Supreme Lord Himself. He clearly states here that He Himself becomes the deliverer. A child is completely cared for by his parents, and thus his position is secure. Similarly, a devotee does not need to endeavor to transfer himself by yoga practice to other planets. Rather, the Supreme Lord, by his great mercy, comes at once riding on his bird carrier Garuda, and at once delivers the devotee from material existence. Although a man who has fallen in the ocean may struggle very hard and may be very expert in swimming, he cannot save himself. But if someone comes and picks him up from the water, then he is easily rescued. Similarly, the Lord picks up the devotee from this material existence. One simply has to practice the easy process of Krishna consciousness and fully engage himself in devotional service. Any intelligent man should always prefer to the process of devotional service to all other paths. In the Narayana, this is confirmed as follows. Yavai sadhana sampatiha purusartha chatustaye taya binata dapnoti naro narayanasrayaha. The purport of this verse is that one should not engage in different processes of fruitive activity or cultivate knowledge by mental speculative process. One who is devoted to the Supreme Personality can attain all the benefits derived from other yogic processes, speculation, rituals, sacrifices, charities, etc. That is the specific benediction of devotional service. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, devotee of the Lord can approach the supreme destination easily and happily. But this destination cannot be approached by any other process of religion. The conclusion of Bhagavad-Gita is stated in the 18th chapter, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Saranam Rajam Tam Sarvapabhyo Mukhyasya Masucha. One should give up all other processes of self-realization and simply execute devotional service in Krishna consciousness. That will enable one to reach the highest perfection of life. There is no need for one to consider the sinful actions of his past life, because the Supreme Lord fully takes charge of him. Therefore, one should not futilely try to deliver himself in spiritual realization. Let everyone take shelter of the Supreme Omnipotent Godhead Krishna. That is the highest perfection of life. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Ragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam Sa. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rusavanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha krupa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya namne Gauratashi namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So, a very big purport. I hope all of you are already tired at the end of the day. So this sloka, which this chapter what we are studying, it is the most important part of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita. The middle 6th chapter deals with the bhakti-yoga, that is devotional service. And these two slokas, the 6 and 7, actually this entire section from 2nd to 7, 2nd sloka to 7th sloka, it actually proves the superiority of personalists, those who believe the personal form of the Lord. Lord has a form, and the opposite party, they are called impersonalists. They don't believe nirakara. They don't believe in the... So that was the first question. If you remember the first sloka of this chapter. So what was the question? Arjuna asked, so which is the best? See, Arjuna didn't ask which is better. Arjuna is asking which is the best. Why? So there are two things, personalist and impersonalist. So why is Arjuna asking which is the best? So because these personalists are also various types. Some are bhaktas, some are jnanis, some are karmis, some are yogis, some are dhyanis, and all the varieties are there. So like that, so Arjuna says, very precisely asking Krishna, please my Lord, please tell me which is the best process and the easiest process which all the people can do, right? So if you go back to the 11th chapter, in the 54th verse of chapter 11, so Krishna mentioned that bhaktya to ananya saktya. So these two slokas which we are discussing today, so they are about the ananya bhakti, that the pure devotional service, kevala bhakti. There is no adulteration of, just Rupa Goswami says, anya āveśita-cetasām, jnana karma dhyanamritam, anukulyana krishna anusulinam bhakti ruttama. So that is, we are discussing kevala bhakti, or which is completely get rid of karma and jnana. So if you see the sloka, I think the sloka you are unable to see. Yetu sarvāṇi karmāṇi. So, O son of Pṛthā, I quickly deliver. Aham na cirāt samuddhartā bhavāmi. So the word here is sarvāṇi karmāṇi. Sarvāṇi karmāṇi, all our activities, when the result of all the activities, we dedicate to Krishna. That is called Krishna karmārpanam. Whatever we do, even for a devotee, even sleeping, eating, taking bath, whatever regular activities, that is also part of bhakti. I hope I'll try to make it bit simplified. So whatever activities means, professional life, somebody is a teacher, engineer, doctor, whatever professionally we do, the result if we give to Krishna, that is called Krishna karma arpanam. It is actually niskam karma yoga. It is a part of niskam. So that's sarva karmāṇi. That word says it is everything we offer to Krishna. So aham na cirāt samuddhartā bhavāmi. From the ocean of repeated birth and death, mṛtyu-saṁsāra-sāgarāt. Very important. So I'm just telling making it in order so that you can understand. Those who meditate on me, teṣām mayi āveśita-cetasām. Meditation means in mind, we meditate on the form of the Krishna. In 11th chapter, if you remember the last words, that is those two words, 11.54 and 55. That is also kevala bhakti, those two. And in the end, Krishna, what he says? So Krishna says, there also, mat karma krit mat paramo. Mat karma, so all the activities you give it to me and work for me. Devote your consciousness unto me and without any attachment and any enmity to me. Then you will attain me. So that is the last sloka of 11th chapter, from which Arjuna, then he is convinced, okay, now the universal form I have seen, so I am convinced I am going to get Krishna. So, but then there are two paths. One is the nirakar means impersonalized and personalized. So Arjuna is asking which is the best. Then Krishna, very clear cut, he is telling in the second sloka, he is telling āveśita-mana. Āveśita-mana means completely absorbed, whose mind is fully absorbed in me and who has devoted his thoughts continuously, 24 hours. So he is the best. Why? Why he is the best? Because āveśita-mana. Āveśita-mana means he has totally absorbed. In what he has been absorbed? He has been absorbed in my form. Just like we have darshan of Lord Syam Sundar. In particular, Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport, Syama Sundaram, Jan Syama Sundaram, the beautiful form of Krishna. In Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami says, best way to control mind is to see the form of Krishna. That's why Prabhupada has given the process. Every day we should have at least one darshan of the deities, so that the imprint will be there. Very easy for the pujaris, but even for ordinary people. In Vrindavan, everybody goes to the temple, right? On the Mangalarti time. They go to various temples, and the different times Mangalarti will be there. So to have a mental impression of the form of the Lord, so that is why it is very important. That is how the mind can be controlled. Then what his Krishna says? They want nitya yukta. Nitya yukta means they were every time, completely and constantly. They constantly wants my attachment, union. They want to unite with me. So these are the second verse of this chapter, 12.2. So that actually defines ananya bhakti. That's why I mentioned this second sloka also. And there, Krishna says, then how? How to do this? This is okay, you told you have to remember the form, fine. Okay, you will be completely unite with me, fine. But how? There he says, the word is paraya shraddhaya. Paraya shraddhaya means it should be a fixed shraddha. Fixed shraddha means completely, it has no adulteration, and that shraddha means that faith has to be above the three modes of material nature. So that is also mentioned, Nistraigunna Bhavarjuna. In second chapter, Krishna says to Arjuna, unless we go beyond the three modes, bhakti will not start. Bhakti is actually beyond the three modes. It is called Joy Suddha Sakta. That means pure goodness. So that is Ananya Bhakti. So what are the different places where Ananya Bhakti is described in Bhagavad-Gita? Daibhi guno mayi mama maya durattaya mam jo prapadyante mayamitam tarante. That is the 7.14, 7th chapter. And the 14th chapter also, that is mentioned how one can cross over these three modes of material nature. So what is that sloka? Mam cho jo abhyavicharena. There also abhyavicari word is there. That is Kevala Bhakti. Okay. So mam jo abhyavicharena bhakti yogena sevaya sagunan samatitayatan brahma bhoyagal. So he will be directly situated in Brahman. So there also the Kevala Bhakti is there. And then very famous sloka is the ananyas chintayante mam je jana upāsate teṣām bhi abhijiktanam yogakhyamam bhavāmi. There very famous sloka is there. So also in 29th verse of 5th chapter, Bhaktaram Jagyantapasam Sarvaloko Mahesaram. So like that, if you see Bhagavad-Gita, there are various places. 8.5, that is also how to attain Krishna. There is also Ananya Bhakti is there. And then 9.13, Mahatmanam tu mam pārtha, daivim pakritim asrita. So who is a Mahatma? That there also Kevala Bhakti is described. So yeah, 8.14. So like that, there are many slokas. Also you can see the Chaturshloki Bhagavad-Gita, 10.10, 10.11, 10.8, 9, 10, 11. These four slokas, there also Ananya Bhakti is described. So the whole idea in this sloka is unless one do Ananya Bhakti, that means without any karma, jnana or any dhyāna, any other yogas, so it is not possible to attain Krishna. That is the whole message it is giving. So it is said, having then ananyenaiva yogena mam dhyāyanta upāsate. So upāsate means he is worshipping me and in constant meditation. So what is that? 6.47 Bhagavad-Gita. What is that? Yoginam api sarveṣāṁ madgatanāntama saddhavan jo bhasitavan samay yuktatamoto. So that there also, it is also said how so one can, that is the whole theme in this sloka is why bhakti yoga is superior. Because it is simple, it is easy, it is simple and easy. So that is why, because you see, impersonalist, you must have heard yesterday, if any of you are there. So there is a comparison between jnana and bhakta, right? So what is the problem? Jnana is they understand up to sat and chit feature of the Lord, but they don't understand the ananda feature of the Lord. That is no Bhagavan realization, right? So normally the soul is very active. The soul always needs ananda. So if that ananda is not provided, so how the soul will be stable in that platform? So it again goes some here, there, some other platform. So that is why bhakti, it provides the ananda feature of, that is Radharani, Srimati Radharani. So Satchid Ananda, Allahadini Shakti. Okay, that is the internal potency, Sandhini Shakti, Sambhit Shakti and Allahadini Shakti. So that Allahadini Shakti is missing in Jnanis. And more so in Jnanis, Krishna never have an affection. Bhakta Vaschal. Krishna's name is Bhakta Vaschal. He is very affectionate to his devotees. Nowhere in the scriptures you will find Krishna is very favorable to the Jnanis or Karmis. So that's the another proof. So like, then mat-parāḥ, they are fully surrendered unto me and giving up all other processes like sarva karmāṇi mayi sannyasya. So that is how it is mentioned. So let us see what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, you have heard Srila Prabhupada's purport. Prabhupada has given an elaborately mentioned that how by bhakti yoga anybody can do just by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which we are doing all of us every day. So that is how it is simple, anybody can do, even a child can do. So but the thing is like it has to be, there is other 4 regulative principles. Unless we follow that, then we will be committing offenses, so it won't be effective. So like that, so what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, let us see. So he says, but the devotees even without jnana, devotee, those we see the gopis, they never went to school. And many of our temple devotees, they never even cannot even put signature. But they are chanting pure names. You see? So they are more devoted to Krishna. Because in jnana, what happens, there is ahankar. So and that is the biggest hindrance. So by kevala bhakti, one can avoid even jnana. And comfortably one can surpass even liberation. Liberation means that same sloka, in this sloka, mṛtyu-saṁsāra. So that means that samsara means birth and death cycle. From there one can get rid of simply by bhakti yoga. So there is no need of tediously doing sadhana like dhyana yoga, where in the 6th chapter you see how difficult it is to make in a steady posture, and celibacy, especially Prabhuji is there, brahmachari. How difficult in Kali Yuga to maintain brahmacharya. So even though somebody is unable to maintain brahmacharya, even though somebody is not very learned, or he is unable to do any specific very intellectual karma, but then simply by doing bhakti yoga, which is very easy, so then he can cross over the greatest danger of life, that is mṛtyu-saṁsāra-sāgarāt. That whole material world is like an ocean of suffering, and there are big sharks, big hindrance. Like in an ocean, if you go, you will see so many octopus will be there, starfish will be there, whales will be there, and so many deadly snakes are there. So they are compared, all these other processes are compared to, in Nectar of Devotion, you will see, Rupa Goswami very clearly mentions that. So how one can simply by execution of bhakti yoga, all other can be bypassed. So having given up sannyasya, sannyasya means tyaga, means renunciation. What you have to renunciate? Just for me, you have to renounce all other processes. Just that means you have to simply worship me. That is ananya bhakti, means no other, completely renounce all other process, which is devoid of karma, jnana, tapasya and other elements. So it is said, jat karma bhir jat tapasya jnana ragyatascha jat yogena dana dharmena shreya bhiritareir api sarvam amad bhakti yogena mad bhakto labhate jasa sarga pavargam madhama kathayan chet jadi vanchati. So this is a very famous sloka from Srimad Bhagavatam 11. So there it is said, everything that can be achieved by karma, that is fruitive mentality, by tapasya, by acquiring various knowledge and detachment, mystic yoga, all these processes, charity, religiosity, everything, if you see, the devotee can surpass all these things, other means, and perfecting their life easily, very easily, through loving service unto me. This sloka supports this Srimad Bhagavatam sloka, supports our today's sloka. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says, somehow or the other my devotees desire, if at all there is a tinge of desire, they want to go to heavenly planet, or they want those 4 kind of liberation, other than Sajujya, Sasti, Samipya, Salokya and Sarupya. Even if though they want, there is a mood of service opportunities there. So I also sanction them very easily, they also can achieve my benediction by that. So some of the devotees, they are not pure devotees, they have some mixture of any, but there are also opportunities there. At least they are not like those impersonalists. So then the moksha dharma, it says, this is Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary, I am just narrating. So Narayanaya, portion he says, Yavai sadhamnam sampatiha purusartha chatustaye Taya vina tad apnoti naro narayanasraya. Naro narayanasraya means those people, Nara means those people who have taken shelter of Lord Narayana. For them there is no need for dharma, artha, kama, moksha. That is called purusartha. There are 4 purusartha and the 5th purusartha is bhakti. So they don't have to do any other they automatically these four things are achieved if they take shelter of Lord Narayana. So whatever these four goals of human life can be achieved by this spiritual practice. So still, here is a Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is telling, still what is the method to cross this samsara? Is there any method? So next he says, there is no question about the method by which one crosses samsara. Why? Because without even having a method, Krishna is telling, I will personally come, I pick up that devotee who is struggling in the ocean. You see, there are very expert swimmers. You have seen scuba divers and in various in foreign countries. Even though they are very expert in swimming, many times they fail to cross the sea. So even the big boatman cannot save. It is mentioned in 7th canto also. So in that case, who can save? If somebody is from a superior person, like from helicopter, or somebody picks him up, then only that is the only way to survive. So like that, what Vishnu is telling here, he comes by the bird Garuda, carrier, and he picks up the devotee, and he makes the devotee sit on the back of Garuda, then he delivers. I hope, is it very difficult? So the whole point is, bhakti is glorified. Bhakti is glorified, the devotee doesn't have to do any other activity, simply by bhakti, because all other processes are very tedious, very difficult to do. So he says, how much time it takes to deliver? He says, very quickly. I deliver swiftly, swift deliverer. So that is why, Khipram bhavati dharmatma saswatam nigacchati pratijane, what is that sloka? Kaunteya namam bhakta pranasyati. So in that sloka, Krishna says, Khipram bhavati dharmatma. That means very quickly I deliver my devotees from this samsara. So this here also we see, and then Baldev Vidyabhushan also, he also says, who perform exclusive bhakti means Kevala bhakti. And to whom? To Krishna. See, in this sloka, if you see, in 5 places, Krishna says bhakti to me, devoted to me. He is using that word me. That is the sign of Kevala bhakti, which Prabhupada writes in the purport, Sarvadharman Parityaja, in that. Mam ekam, that same thing Prabhupada supports there. And then he says, Baldev Vidyabhushan says, the source of the Jivatma, who is Krishna, Mamavansa Jiva Loka Jiva Hota Sanatana. So after, when they hear the real nature of the Atma, and who do not strive just to direct perception of the Atma, means Atma we can't see by direct perception, but simply by hearing and executing devotional service, even though we can't see, we can't realize also, the process is so strong, the bhakti yoga is so strong, by simply by executing it, then one can get delivered from the Janma Mrityu cycle. So these 2 slokas, what they explain is, they solely dedicate to me. Krishna is telling, the purpose of attending me is giving up all prescribed activities, sarva karmāṇi. There I am saying sannyasya, means give up all other activities. If you see the next verses, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, next 5 verses, Krishna is going to describe Arjuna. First he says, first you fix your mind and intelligence on me. That will be 8th verse. Is it so easy? So that there are the Acharya Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baldev Vidyabhushan Prabhupada. So they write the same thing but in different words. So there is Smaranatmika Bhakti, Mananatmika Bhakti and Abhyasa Bhakti, and there are various, these 3. They are called by higher intellectual people, those who are highly intelligent. They have very expert in, Manan means in our contemplation, and Smarana means in mind we are thinking the form of Krishna, and Manan is by intelligence. And then Abhyasa means the sadhana bhakti which we do. Prabhupada has given a 24-hour schedule for us, especially the morning program, where everything is covered, like getting up early, attending Mangalarti, and all these processes Prabhupada has given. So that is called following the regulative principles. Krishna says very systematically, if you cannot fix your mind intelligence, do not be worried. You will get the same result if you follow the regulative principles. That means, regulative principles means here, actually we forcibly, that is sadhana bhakti mostly, and we need a spiritual master for this. The mercy of the spiritual master, under his guidance, what we will do is, we can forcibly drag the mind from the sense objects and various other distractions and engage the mind by practice. That is why it is called abhyasa. Okay. So in the hierarchy, if you see, there is a ascending and a descending ladder. So here we see, if you cannot fix your mind intelligence, then okay, follow the regulative principle. If you cannot do that also, then what to do? Krishna is telling, work for me. Just do work for me. Like many devotees we see, they are unable to fix their mind. Right? They don't remember Krishna all the time. Like Arjuna says, to Krishna says to Arjuna, Tasmat sarvesu kalesu mam anusmurasdhyacha mayi arpita manobuddhir mam āveśita-cetasām. So if you ask Arjuna, Krishna says, you shoot your arrow to the enemy. So what Arjuna will do? He will see the target or he will think of Krishna? Both are not possible. So that is why Krishna is advising, okay, don't bother, you just fight for me. Okay, you fight for me, that karma itself become bhakti. You don't have to remember me. The same thing here in this sloka it is told. In the next 3 verses, Krishna is going to tell Arjuna, don't be worried if you do any karma, but it should be only for me. In that Krishna is very specifically telling. So like we see many devotees, they are not very expert in chanting. Many times we see they are very busy in doing seva. This seva, that seva. So that also gradually the heart gets purified by doing that service. Then one time will come, they will be able to concentrate their mind and intelligence, fix the mind and intelligence in Krishna. So that is the hierarchy. But if then Krishna says, if you cannot, there may be some family members which we see brahmacharis wants to join but parents are not supporting. Husband wants to join as a full temple, but wife is saying, don't go, it's not the time, we want to enjoy. So like that. So there will be so many social hindrances, especially from family members. So in that case, what we should do? Krishna is telling, at least give some person, give up the result of your action. Give some donation, give some charitable work. So by that, if you give up your hard-earned money or your result, so what will happen? You will get detachment and you will get the peace of mind. So then Krishna says, if you cannot do that, at least do. Then next stage is, he said, just do meditation, dhyan. So if you cannot do meditation, then acquire knowledge. So in the systematically, so the hierarchy is there. So in this 2 slokas also, if you see these slokas, here also Krishna says, the first is sarva karmāṇi, means you devote all your work, you give the result of your work to me. In the 6th verse, if you see, sarva karmāṇi, then mayi sannyasya, then he is talking about tyaga, then mat-parāḥ, only for me, then ananya bhakti, he say ananyenaiva yogena, then mam dhyāyanta. Dhyāyanta means just meditate upon me. The same, you see, all things are there in this sloka already. Then upāsate, then worship me. Then what is the result? He tells in the next sloka, teṣām aham samuddhartā. So samuddhartā means very quickly. Urdhartā means I will deliver, but samuddhartā means very swiftly I will deliver from the mṛtyu-saṁsāra-sāgarāt. Then what will happen? Na bhavāmi na cirāt pārtha, mayi āveśita-cetasām. Cetasām means here, cetasām means his mind. It's antahkarana. It may be mind, intelligence, ego or consciousness. This particular, here it is called mind. The meaning is the mind. So Prabhupada also, he also mentions in his purport. So one more, Baldev Vidyabhusana, he also says, the devotee whose mind are attracted by me, āveśita-cetasām. I am a deliverer from the sansara. The same thing, almost there is not much difference. So then he says, not after a long time, but very quickly, very swiftly. So Prabhupada gives one good example, like those jnanis and karmis. What they do, that one analogy Prabhupada gives. Sometimes we see one dog is, trying to cross the ocean. He is swimming. And these karmis and jnanis, what they do is, some people they try to catch hold of the dog's tail. What will happen? The dog will drown and these people will also drown. So this is a very nice analogy Prabhupada mentions in his lecture, one of these lectures. He was telling this, all these karmi, jnani, yogis and all these, impersonalists, mayavadis, they are like they catch hold of the dog's tail. They can never ever cross this material world, rather they will drown and they will die. That is what Prabhupada also says. And if you see in the end of the 8th chapter, you already heard, so there Krishna mentioned there are 2 ways. One is devayana and one is pitrujani. Pitrujani and devajani. That means the sun, if you see the summer time, it deviates towards the north, In the winter it is Dakshinayana and Uttarayana. And similarly in the moon there is waxing and waning. After Amavasya to Purnima, it is waxing, and waning is Purnima to Amavasya, like that. So like that, so for those who are not devotees, there is always a risk. What is that risk? They have to give up the body in the daytime. It has to be Uttarayana. It has to be, in the waxing period of the moon. Then only there is a possibility they will go back. But whatever it is, whether they are jnanis, karmis, or any other method, bhakti is a must. Without bhakti, that is not, they won't be successful. Second thing, there is no other way other than bhakti, kevala bhakti, not misra bhakti. There is karma misra bhakti, jnana misra bhakti. So like that there are misra bhaktis. By misra bhakti one cannot enter Vaikuntha planet. One cannot go back to Godhead. So going back to Godhead is only possible by kevala bhakti. That is what Baldev Vidyavasana he also mentions here. So he says that they attain my dham without going along the path of light and waxing fortnight. This example he is giving. So, nayami paramam sthanam archir adi gatim bina garuda skandham aropya jathecham anivarita. So, garuda skandham. So, here Krishna personally comes, just like in Gajendra Moksha Udharan. Gajendra Moksha. So, how Krishna immediately came? And the Sudarshan Chakra already released. And Sudarshan Chakra, he so swiftly it was going, and by his Garuda, Vahana, Lord Vishnu immediately came. He dragged out the crocodile and both the Gajendra Maharaj they were in the water, they were fighting. Then he separated. First he killed the crocodile, alligator. Why? Because he has cut hold of the Vaishnava's lotus feet. That is why he was delivered first. Then Gajendra Maharaj was delivered. So that, and also Draupadi. You see many places Krishna very swiftly comes, but he waits till the full surrender. So the whole message is we have to practice Ananya Bhakti, and then only there is a possibility of deliverance. So then it says, Baldev Vidyavasana says, according to my desire, unchecked, I bring them to my dham. See, all things, sometimes these yogis, they do big meditators. They Ashtanga Yoga, and there are 6 chakras, and then they move the life air with the soul to the Brahmarandra. And from there they can send it to any planets. And that any planet doesn't include Vaikuntha. For Vaikuntha, bhakti is a must. So yogis may go to Sargaloka, or they may go to, some Brahmaloka or some other planet, but that has to be within the material world. At the most, to the Vaitarani Nadi, which is surrounding the material world, Viraja Nadi. So, even though one disregards prescribed activities, bhakti brings to the goal yavai sadhana sampattiha purusartha. That sloka already, the same sloka which Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur he also mentions. So like that, Prabhupada's time is almost getting over. So what we learnt from today's sloka, by kevala bhakti only Krishna can be achieved, and there is no need for any other, and bhakti yoga is very simple. So there are some slokas in Srimad Bhagavatam which I will like to mention, which supports this. In 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse number 4, it is said, Sreya sratim bhaktim udasyate vibho klisanti ye kevala buddha labdhe teṣām asau klesa la eva sisyate nanyad jatha sthula tusavagninam. So here it is said, my dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path for self-realization. If someone gives up that path and engages in cultivation of speculative knowledge, this particular sloka, it is compared between jnana and bhakti. So here this sloka supports that bhakti is superior to jnana. This particular Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he mentions this. So he says, simply undergoing troublesome process, jnana means you have to struggle hard with your senses. So one cannot achieve the desired goal. It's like, then he gives the example from a husk where the grain has been taken out. So even if we beat many times, you will not get anything. That is jnana marga. right? So that example is given. So this is about speculative knowledge. It is simply to increase our trouble. And also, on Srimad Bhagavatam 4th canto, 22 chapter, verse 39. Very famous sloka, you should all remember this. Jat pada pankaja palasa vilasa bhaktya karmasayam grathitam udgranthanti sanantaha tadvanarikta matayo jatayo piruddha srota ganastam aranam bhajavasudevam. So the devotees who are always engaged in the service of the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord can very easily overcome the hard-knotted desire for fruitive activity. Fruitive activity is very difficult to overcome because this is very difficult. The non-devotees like jnanis, yogis, although they are trying to stop the waves of sense gratification. Normally we face with practicing devotees, many times there will be waves of enjoying spirit. Only by bhakti it can be controlled, not by reading many books or no other method is possible. So this is what this verse says. Therefore you are advised to engage in devotional service to Krishna, O son of Vasudeva. And the very next verse says, Kritsro mahan iha bharanarnam alpavesam sadvarganarkam asukhena titir santi tattvam harer bhagavato bhajaniyam anghrim krutva dupam vyasanam uttara dushtararnam. The ocean of nescience is very difficult to cross. The second verse, it is supporting the 7th 12.7. It is very difficult to cross because it is infested with many dangerous sharks, like the other Gyanis and Karmis. Although those who are non-devotees undergo severe austerities and penances to cross that ocean, we recommend you that simply take shelter. This is Pṛthā Maharaj's pastimes, where we recommend that you simply take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are like the boats for crossing the ocean. Although the ocean is difficult to cross, by taking shelter of the lotus feet, you will overcome all dangers. So this whole discussion we learned today with all these Bhagavatam slokas, with this all other two big acharyas giving their commentary. So we concluded there is no need of any other process. This Kevala Bhakti is the only process, and the result is very quick and very easy. It is very, enjoyable. It's very easy and simple. Bhakti is very simple, basically. So like that. So, and also we learned what are the hierarchy. So by just doing any karma and giving the result to Krishna, then it becomes bhakti, just like niskam karma yoga. We give the result to Krishna, then it purifies our heart, then the irrevocable knowledge about Krishna, that is realized, and then devotional service starts. So like that. So then also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions in Sikshastakam, in the mood of a devotee, his desire is so pure just to serve Krishna, and that pure desire attracts the mercy of Krishna. Nadhanam najanam nasundarim kavitam va jagadisha kamay mama janmani janmani sare bhavatad bhakti. So devotee never desires mukti. So that sloka Mahaprabhu is teaching us. Simply by sincere desire, it will attract the mercy of Krishna. Mercy we can obtain if we identify what is our mistakes we are doing, and first point out the mistake through the help of the spiritual master, and if we rectify that mistake, mercy will automatically follow. We don't have to beg mercy, like Prabhuji was telling, we cannot snatch mercy from God. We have to be qualified. So what is that qualification? So whatever shortcomings, mistakes, if we rectify, then mercy will automatically flow. Hare Krishna. So I am just exceeding the time. Thank you very much for attending this session. Hopefully it was a bit philosophical. So any corrections or any comments? Thank you. Granthras Bhagavad-Gita ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.